Okay, so good morning. Today is, what day is it? Tuesday. It's Tuesday the 4th of April, and it is a very misty day. Yesterday was absolutely glorious, sunshine. It was quite nice. I actually did all my admin on my little sofa thing in my backyard, which was lovely. It's nice to sit out in the sunshine. Just felt really summery. Okay, so I've just done my Facebook Live, and this is my YouTube, which I'm going to put on my website and obviously onto my YouTube channel. So I'm out on Hamish, and Hamish is my friend Carrie's Highland. She very kindly lets me ride him. We've had a very exciting start to Facebook Live earlier because we met Harvest Miss racehorses, and he saw them galloping past and then got very excited, and then we came to meet some, and he just started rodeoing. So that's actually on my Facebook Live if you want to watch that. So I think that'd be interesting viewing. The naughty boy he is. He's shedding a lot of fur at the moment. A lot of his grey hair's coming out, and he's been overnight without his rug on. So I think he doesn't have a rug on during the day anymore because it's nice warm weather, and he's covered in poo. So now instead of a nice grey, he is a skewbald, which is a brown and white pony rather than a grey one. Anyway, so today's topic is anger. So I'm going to make my YouTubes more structured, much like my parent peer support groups. My walk and talks are not quite so structured, although I could actually start to make them more structured. At the moment I'm just sort of going with the flow and seeing what people want to talk about, but I could actually make those more structured. You'll have to let me know if you feel like that would be a good idea. Please put a comment down below and let me know if that's something you'd like to see. So it is 9:25 on Tuesday morning, and as I say, yesterday was glorious. They did say this mist was going to lift and it was going to be a nice sunny day today. So anyway, triggers. That is something you need to look at. That's number one. I've got 9 points to cover when I talk to you today about anger. So triggers. Now, this is something of a CBT technique. It is something that I do with virtually all of my clients, is look for the trigger. So if a behaviour happens, what thing happened just before to trigger that behaviour? That's why it's called triggers. So if you're the person, if you're an adult who gets angry, just before you get angry, what was the thing that happened? What triggered it? Now, sometimes that can be a really minor thing, and you'll think, well, that really can't have been why I got angry. It was a silly thing. It can be like, oh, I don't know, I dropped a glass and then I flew into a rage. It's not about the glass, is it? There's something else going on there, and you'll know that. Quite often what does happen is you might hold lots and lots and lots of things, and you keep putting it in your pocket. It's like you go, that's really annoyed me, that's irritated me, I'm going to put that in my pocket, I'm not going to deal with that. And it keeps going, and your pocket starts to overflow with all these irritating, annoying and upsetting and frustrating things, that it overflows and you just can't take it anymore and you fly into a rage. So it can often be a build-up. Now, I've talked about this before with I have quite a lot of autistic clients, and the reason why is that communication is a massive thing. If you are autistic, communication and social interaction is really hard, and if you can't communicate effectively about how you are feeling, that builds up to a massive amount of frustration and anxiety. So they need a release. So being able to understand where anger comes from and being able to communicate those needs is vital. And even people without autism struggle with this. So it's understanding how to interact, how to verbalise, and sometimes it's just the way we've been brought up. Well, our family might be a family that doesn't talk about the feelings. No, you don't talk about feelings. No, don't feel sorry for yourself, just get on with things. But that doesn't work for everybody. Some people do need to express those feelings, otherwise they come out another way. And anger can be one of those ways. So yes, so finding that trigger. Quite often, if you analyse it, if there's a lot of anger outbursts within a week or two, you write them down and you'll probably start to see a pattern. Oh, right, so it always happens, say if it's with a child, in English. What's going on in English then? And you pick it and unpick it and unpick it until you get to the root of cause of what's going on. And then you look at how you can resolve that, if it is resolvable. Okay, so that's the start. Look for the trigger. Okay, after the trigger, start to look at feelings. Now, it's really important, and again, I've been talking about autistic children because anger is very prevalent with autistic children because they don't understand their emotions and their feelings. Or there could be some bullying going on there because they are different and they communicate in a different way. But being in touch with your feelings is important, whether you have autism or not. Quite often, as I say, it's what is the norm for your family. If the norm for your family, the way you were brought up, was not to talk about feelings and not really understand, you might not fully understand feelings because it's just not something that's talked about. I don't particularly remember being taught about feelings when I was at school, but when I was a teacher, it has become much more a thing that we do teach. We teach about how are you feeling today, especially in Key Stage 1 and early years, so that children are understanding how they are feeling. Are they feeling frustrated? Are they feeling angry? It is okay to feel angry. You know, it's not a bad thing to be angry. And sometimes we can be taught that it's bad to be angry. It's not bad to be angry. It's bad if you let the anger turn into a behaviour that is violent. That is the difference. It's dealing with anger and how you deal with it. So it's understanding emotions and feelings is a big part of it. Okay. Managing. So that's understanding why it's happening and knowing how to manage that. So if you feel it coming, how can you deal with it? How can you recognise and understand that it's coming on? Because you don't go from feeling completely normal to throwing chairs around the room, do you? Or screaming and shouting. Something happens as it builds up. So start to recognise those feelings and know how to manage them is really important. So recognise that my breath's getting short now. I can feel my heart pumping. I'm getting really hot. All those things happen before you fly into a rage. So recognise that. Okay. Think. So being able to think clearly is really important. And you can't think clearly when you're in the middle of a rage. And that's understanding about the basic brain, that you are there in your basic brain. The 500 million year old brain that we had as cavemen is very basic, and we just know about either fighting an enemy or running away from a saber-toothed tiger, and that adrenaline is in our body for us to react like that. And when you are in a heightened state of arousal, that means that you are extremely distressed, then that will really kick in, and that is means that you are unable to think straight. So there's no good trying to talk to someone who's in that state. I hope that makes sense. Okay, exercise. That's a good way of managing those feelings. So people that run, go to the gym, go horse riding, if it's getting them out of breath, going walking but at brisk pace, any kind of exercise that helps to get rid of frustration. Quite often exercising will help to release those feelings and help you to feel less stressed. So building that into your work routine, into your life routine, is a really good idea. Getting exercise in there is really helpful as a de-stressor and to prevent anger. So talking, as I said before, talking is not a good idea when you are in the middle of a rage. So I would not suggest you go and talk to someone who is throwing things around the room. You need to be calm and able to talk. What way to go here? I'll go this way. So you need to be able to communicate and talk and think clearly, and you cannot do that when you're in that state. So it's important that you give yourself time to calm down before you start to talk. Okay. Humour is often a good way of diffusing a difficult situation, but just be careful when you use that, and make sure you don't use sarcasm, because that cannot go down well sometimes. If you feel like somebody's taking the mickey out of you, that doesn't really help. Right, looks like I might have to jump a ditch here. Up. Big effort. So humour is a big part of it. It can help to diffuse an awkward situation, but sometimes it could make the situation worse. So you have to really consider, read the situation and see whether it's appropriate. But humour is a good way of dealing with that. Oh, flies. Okay, and the final one is obviously to ask for help. I have many clients that come to me, and I think it takes a lot of strength of character to realise you've got a problem and you want to deal with it. And asking for help is a really strong thing to do. And having strategies in place, knowing that you can go, you need to take yourself away, take some time out to think about how you can deal with a situation, and obviously making sure that you don't fly off the handle and say something you wish you hadn't, because as you say, you cannot take back things that you've said. And I think that's it. That's it from Hamish and from me this morning on anger, dealing with anger. If you've got any questions, please do ask. If you want to make an appointment, call me on 07719751138. Visit my website on www.spring.me.uk. That's ME. And you can go on my Facebook page, my Twitter page. It's Spring Seba Thompson on Facebook, and Spring_Seba on Twitter. And I think that's it for all social media. That's it. I'm on LinkedIn. I don't use that too much though, but I am quite active on Facebook and Twitter. Okay, so thank you for listening, and please do subscribe. Press the red button underneath after you have watched this. Thank you.